Mississippi State Diamond Dog and minor league player, he knows how vital consistent practice is for young athletes. That's why Berkery has left the Starkville swing cages open.
It almost resembles what it's like when you're in pro ball because, you know, during the off season, your coach sends you home and your organization sends you a packet they want you to be working on, and it's up to you.
All right, we will get you that story at some point down the line, but we want to come back in here and get you the latest and greatest weather coverage here. We are going to have that storm that we've been talking about up here east of Boonville near Tishomingo. This is going to have a tornado warning associated with it. The National Weather Service in Memphis just in the process of issuing this warning. So it's 5:23, and there's a new warning right here. That warning is going to go until 5:45. So this tornado warning does include Eastern Prentice and the central part of Tishomingo County. That does include the city of Tishomingo here as the storm cell is lifting off to the east. Again, 5:45 is the expiration time on that warning. Let's clear some of this off and show you exactly what we're monitoring here. And we're just hopping on in here. Our shear rate, the greatest amount of spin potential here, right along Highway 30, right here near the Burton community in Eastern Prentice, and that is just to the west of Payton. We've been looking at the data suggesting that the lightning is really perking on up in some of this activity here. So right here, there's the storm cell, that area in green right there east of Boonville, just along and north of 30, approaching Tishomingo. That is the area of rotation here that is most concerning at this time. And notice how by 5:37 in the city of Tishomingo, Bloody Springs by 5:45, and then this is going to slip across the state line into West Alabama. So this is the one storm cell we are monitoring right now. The one warning we do have in place at this time. Again, a tornado warning that does include Eastern Prentice and parts of Tishomingo counties, including areas around Tishomingo. That goes until 5:45 tonight. Here's the situation. We have a big mass of rain out ahead of it. We are looking at some rotation around it on the back side of it. And actually, there's our updated scan right here. I'm going to clear off some of this stuff for you here so we can see this a little bit better. Let's see, there we go. So basically, this storm cell is going to be right along and north of Highway 30 here. There's our low-level shear marker showing up again. So when we see those little cones pop, that's where we would expect to see the greatest amount of wind potential that could give rise to tornadoes. This is a Doppler radar indicated warning here with this storm cell moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So Burton, right here, Payton, Tishomingo, right along Highway 30. There's County Road, looks like it's County Road 134, just to the northeast of Burton and west of Payton here in Tishomingo County. So that is the most intense part of the storm cell right now. Let's go back to our wind shear rate, and it's really spinning on up right here. We'll come on in and show you some of the streets that are affected. County Road 134 downstream, let's just say County Road 961. We have County Road 118. There's Tishomingo here. State Highway 25, obviously. County Road 147 in Tishomingo County. County Road 127. So this thing looks like it's going to be riding right along Highway 30 in Tishomingo County. So if you are anywhere near the city of Tishomingo here in the southern part of Tishomingo County, you need to be in your safe zone, your storm shelter, your basement, interior rooms away from windows. This is the most intense part of the thunderstorm at this point. At this juncture, we really only have one game in town as far as actual severe weather. These other storm cells and showers butting back down to the southwest are not severe. They're not really showing any signs at this point. The strongest area of concern is this storm complex up here near Tishomingo in Tishomingo County. Again, tornado warning continues until 5:45 this evening. It is now 5:26, and this is moving pretty fast here. So we can actually do let's just do a measurement here. So this thing is only about 11 miles from getting out of the state of Mississippi. So this thing is moving pretty fast, and this warning goes until 5:45. So by that point, we would expect to see that storm slipping across the state line into Alabama and out of the WCBI coverage area. So this is not going to be a long-term problem, it would appear, for our particular area. But there are some other storm cells we will have to continue watching here, back building down towards Boonville and Guntown. Those are not severe. The strongest and most intense storm is up here in the vicinity of Tishomingo at this point. So let's turn off some of these markers here and clean this up just a little bit. There's a little bit of clouded ground lightning in this. And let's come back on down and zoom on into the city of Tishomingo and toggle on some of our threats. So we're looking at purple, where there could be a little bit of hail in this. There could also be some very strong wind potential here, hence the tornado warning. And that is why we have this right over Highway 30, that big green and red dot right there near Tishomingo. So let's throw on our hail potential here. We're not really looking at any serious hail potential at this point. If we were to have that, there would be a little bit of white showing up in that. So that's certainly good news. But let's go back to our shear rate. I want to go to our shear swath, though, and this is where you can really see how it has intensified. It started near Boonville, started to wrap up a little bit, and is getting stronger and stronger here as we've gone throughout the last couple of minutes. I'm going to jump on over to you, Trevor, if you have a couple of tidbits of info you may want to chime on in. But again, up here in Tishomingo County, this is where we have the biggest threat at this point.
Yeah, and Keith, this is really coming right through the central portion of Tishomingo County right now. Here's the city of Tishomingo, obviously no stranger to strong weather. We've talked about Tishomingo here for a couple of severe weather events back in the past. This is the area of rotation that we're currently monitoring, and you see that big yellow cylinder? That's the radar basically pinpointing where the potential tornado would be. So this is going to be right around the community of Payton, right there along Highway 30, and it's basically going to parallel Highway 30 right into Tishomingo. So Tishomingo, you've got about 2 or 3 minutes maximum to be in your safe place in the event this is a tornado on the ground. Obviously, we want to treat it as such with the radar signature that we're seeing. So go ahead and get into your safe place if you're anywhere near Payton, Tishomingo, and also along State Route 25, a couple of miles north or south of the city of Tishomingo. And basically, this is just going to parallel Highway 30 all the way over to the Alabama state line. And then at that point, it's no longer our concern here as it gets into Alabama. But this is the area that we're monitoring, as I mentioned. And this radar frame is actually a couple of minutes old. So I wouldn't be shocked if by the time this is updated, we see these red colors right over the city of Tishomingo. Now, that's just kind of a generalization of what kind of shear we're thinking of, but I'll show you the red and green mode. Obviously, greens are going one way, reds are going in another direction. So you see right there where they're really close together near the community of Payton, that is what we are concerned about right now that could be indicative of a tornado. Let me see if we've got any new storm track information on this. Let me see if I can move this out of the way here. Our BTI is a 4.6, and that's up substantially from where it was. It was down at a 2, even as low as a 0.4 a couple of moments ago. And so to see that jump right there in that number, that BTI of a 4.6, that's basically just showing us this is something that we're going to have to continue to keep an eye on. There you see that latest update, that rotation getting closer and closer to the city of Tishomingo, moving east at about 40 miles an hour. And once again, here's your communities. Tishomingo, you've got just a couple of minutes to be in your safe place. Mingo at 5:42, and then after that, it is going to be back over into Alabama. So Keith, just a couple more minutes of our concern here as this thing makes it through Tishomingo County. But obviously, until it passes into Alabama, we are going to continue to be concerned about this. Right on the back end of this storm, paralleling Highway 30 through Tishomingo and eventually over towards Mingo and those last few miles in Mississippi. So something we will continue to monitor here over the next few minutes, Keith.
Yeah, it's a quick mover here, Trevor, and we are looking at our Alpha Insurance camera in downtown Tupelo. Looking back to the north, we've had some wet weather here in Tupelo over the last couple of minutes, and really over the last couple of hours, some showers and storms rumbling on through. It doesn't look too ominous, and right now, from a radar velocity or from a radar reflectivity standpoint, the storm that we were just talking about doesn't really look too impressive here across Tishomingo County here. It looks like a big mass, a big blob of red, but when we go in and inspect the actual velocity data, the wind speed going in different directions, as Trevor was just mentioning here, green going towards the radar site, red going away. Basically, Tishomingo, Highway 30, Highway 20, right here in the heart of Tishomingo County, and this is quickly moving to the east. So those of you right along Highway 30, County Road 87, County Road 958, areas east of Tishomingo. That is the area of rotation that is developing here. So it looks like a big blob on radar, but when we can actually go in and dissect the storm and see where the wind is going, basically centered over Tishomingo right now, but we have to watch downstream. So these areas near Carter Branch, Bishop, Alabama, Allsboro, Alabama, right along the state line here. We've had several storms of this size, of this magnitude, move through these areas here in Tishomingo County. It just seems like 1, 2, or 3 times per year we'll have some sort of a storm rotating here near Tishomingo County and move quickly from there into Alabama. So this is just north of the Natchez Trace Parkway here. I'm going to draw that on here. So this right here is the Natchez Trace. This is just north of the Trace. There's Carter Branch, Mingo, as Trevor was mentioning, Bishop, Alabama, Burnstown. Tishomingo to the state line right now here in Tishomingo County. Again, we have this tornado warning that goes until 5:45. The National Weather Service in Huntsville is monitoring things. They may actually extend that tornado warning across the state line soon. Still over in Alabama, a severe thunderstorm warning. But we are on the air right now for severe weather coverage for at least the next 10 minutes here with this rotating storm near Tishomingo in Tishomingo County, Mississippi here. A situation where we have a little bit of intensification with this storm that has gone on over the last couple of minutes. So that is the one storm that we do have that is causing some problems here in Tishomingo County. That is the storm right here. As we go down the line, we'll zoom back out just a little bit so we can't forget about some of these other budding storms here south of Boonville, just to the northwest of Saltillo. These don't really look too impressive from radar at this point. And we go down the line, some scattered showers down towards Winona and west of Amory, and we've had a few down here near Louisville and Columbus. Those are not really too concerning at this point. The one thing I should also mention is that the most unstable air at this point and the most unstable air teamed up with the best wind energy is right here across far northeastern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and southern Tennessee. So that's really where we're getting the one rotating storm in our area here. So we would expect this particular storm here in Tishomingo County to continue to hold its own as it moves over into Alabama. And we're still looking at some of the updated velocity scans here. And you know, Trevor, I'm going to go back to you real quick if you want to talk more about the couplet we have there. Yep. But we still have the green and red together and still some of that low-level rotation on radar.
Sure. And, yeah, just a little bit of good news for folks in Prentiss County. That tornado warning has now been canceled for Prentiss County. We've still got a severe thunderstorm warning back there, indicative of some gusty winds, maybe a little bit of hail. But the tornado threat has come to an end for Prentiss County. That tornado warning now only going to include the central portion of Tishomingo County. That includes Mingo, Tishomingo, Payton right now. And you see right here, this is the area we're concerned about. Carter Branch and Mingo, you definitely need to be in your safe place as this potential tornado approaches.
Chime in real quick. We are getting some information here that this could be a confirmed tornado with some issues up there in Tishomingo County.
Look, we've got possible debris signature actually on that, so that might verify that. You see this lower color here in this product. That's indicative of the radar picking up some stuff that shouldn't be there. So this could be branches, leaves, this could be roofing, siding, anything that the tornado could be picking up. So we're going to go with this as a confirmed tornado on the ground as this goes through the city of Tishomingo.
Okay, yeah, yep. Trevor, that certainly looks like it's the case. Joey just came in here saying the Prentiss County EMA saying no damage from Prentiss County. Again, the storm was just developing near Boonville in Prentiss County. Now it looks like it's more of a serious situation here in areas of Tishomingo County with this now darker debris signature here where we have the green and the blue showing on up here. That is where we have most likely debris from a tornado that has been moving on through near Carter Branch just north of the Natchez Trace. So this thing has really intensified as it has been moving east of Tishomingo. We are now looking at confirmed, from a radar perspective, confirmed visuals that a tornado has developed. It has touched down, produced some damage, and lifted some debris into the sky, and that's what we are detecting right here. So this is a confirmed tornado now in eastern parts of Tishomingo County here in northern Mississippi. The tornado warning goes until 5:45. This tornado is moving east at about 50 miles per hour. So let's go back to our shear rate here, and there it is. We're going to do another storm track here, and let's go ahead, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And this is moving east at about 50, okay? So this is going to take it towards Bishop, Alabama, 540, downstream here, farther east into Alabama here, down the line, Newsom Springs by 555, and over towards areas farther east of there, even closer towards 6 o'clock. So this is almost out of our coverage area here. Trevor, another quick update for you.
Yeah, Keith, we're getting some unfortunate reports that we've got a pretty veteran storm spotter and chaser that's up in Tishomingo right now, reporting numerous structures have been damaged. Large tornado moving through the center portion of Tishomingo. Trees were down. Also, he's now reporting that some structures have been damaged. We don't know if that's homes. We don't know if that's businesses. We don't know at this point. But what we can confirm to you as this continues to move into Alabama is that this is a dangerous tornado on the ground doing damage. And fortunately, it is quickly getting out of our hair. But this is still an issue for folks around Carter Branch, right there along the Natchez Trace. I wouldn't be shocked if this is really tearing up some trees right there along the trace. Petertown, Bishop into West Alabama, Burnstown, not officially our coverage area, but some folks there do watch us on antenna. So if you're over there in West Alabama along the trace, Bishop and Burnstown, you also need to be in your tornado safe place right now. So we're going to continue to monitor this for the next few minutes, but unfortunately, Keith, it does sound like we've got some pretty significant damage up near the center portion of Tishomingo.
Yeah, and one thing that we don't want to see when we look at our debris detector there is the blues and the greens showing on up, mixing with all this red. And whenever we see that, that really is just an indication that there's stuff flying in the air that probably shouldn't be in the air, some debris, trees, structures, what have you. And that is what radar is picking up on, as Trevor just mentioned, right along the trace right now, slipping over the Mississippi-Alabama border as of right now. So this thing is quickly moving away from the WCBI viewing area. However, we most likely will have to do some surveys up here in Tishomingo County over the next day or so to see exactly what has occurred up here. But the possibility existed today for a couple of tornadoes in far northeast Mississippi, northern Alabama, and earlier today the Storm Prediction Center was mentioning that the capability was there for maybe a strong tornado or two. Now, we just don't know how strong these tornadoes happen to be. We most likely will have to see what the damage is to get the survey done, to get the actual rating on it. But the storm is now moving east of the state line right now. And I think this thing is basically moving into Alabama and getting out of our coverage area. So for the most part, it is 5:40. This warning goes until 5:45, but the worst of the weather now is crossing the state line. We will continue watching the storm cells farther to the southwest. Let's go back to Prentiss County. Right now, south of Boonville, we have a non-severe storm. We're going to go back in and look at our shear rate, and we have a little bit of green popping up here southeast of Frankstown. Let's go and check out our velocity here. There's a little bit of a concern here. We're watching that little bit of rotation trying to spin on up here south of Boonville right now. So will this become as intense as what just happened in Tishomingo County? Can't rule it out here as we have seen. So that is currently not warned. We will watch it. Farther south down towards Saltillo, north of Tupelo, it looks like that is not really too impressive at all. So I would say, just looking at our shear rate here, we've got rid of one problem now. That is now slipped over into Alabama. The other one is going to be here near Boonville or south thereof, and that would be where we would have another chance for another one of these supercell storms to flare on up here. So that is the lay of the land here as of 5:41. The worst of the weather now is shifting east of our area into Alabama. A tornado warning continues over there until 6 o'clock. And right now, we are going to just see how, let me go back out here. I'll show you the big picture real quick. Downstream, we don't have anything too sinister in any of this activity down towards Grenada, Winona, or Columbus, but this activity is eventually going to be moving. Let me put this in animation mode. It's eventually going to be crossing the entire area as we go throughout the course of the evening hours. So we would expect to see a gradual intensification of some of this. Now, the overall storms will not, let's just say the overall coverage of strong storm activity will not be too great, I suspect, farther south, but we are going to watch these couple of storm cells here across northeastern Mississippi. And why we are on the air right now preempting CBS Evening News is because we have had a confirmed tornado move through Tishomingo and Tishomingo County that has now slipped into Alabama. We also have these other budding storms here to the north of Tupelo. And let's go back to our Alpha Insurance camera here in downtown Tupelo. We notice the dark clouds here. This is with the storms and the showers just north of downtown. So there's a lot of ominous looking clouds out there for sure. Let's go back to radar and check out our debris signature and see if we still have that. And now it's really ramping on up again as it's slipping over there right along the trace east of Bishop, Alabama, northeast of Burnstown, Alabama, right along the trace. As Trevor mentioned, very wooded, very hilly terrain up here, and it could be tearing up a lot of trees. And that, what you see right here, right along the trace, that is a confirmed tornado that is moving right along the Natchez Trace Parkway, just northeast of the Mississippi state line. So that is moving away, Trevor. Good news, that one's moving away, but we'll still have to watch these other cells back down to the south and west.
Certainly not over. The good news for Tishomingo County is that this storm has moved out, but we continue to get some grim reports out of Tishomingo. One of the professors over at Mississippi State in the meteorology department, Dr. Mike Brown, is in Tishomingo right now. He's reporting that a large rain-wrapped tornado moved through Tishomingo about 10 minutes ago. And obviously those rain-wrapped tornadoes are tricky because a lot of folks around this area like to go outside and try to see the tornado, and all you really see is a mass of water and rain coming at you. You don't see the tornado. So keep that in mind. This is not a situation where you're going to be able to see any of these tornadoes if unfortunately we have to deal with any more. But numerous trees are reported down to the north and east of Tishomingo, and the road is apparently impassable. So if you are in Tishomingo County, probably just stay home for the next little bit. Not a good idea to try to be out on the roads. Let the crews come out and try to clear things up. Wouldn't be shocked to see and hear about some power outages up in Tishomingo right now. But certainly the good news is no reason to believe that in the next minute this tornado warning will not be able to be allowed to expire as it was scheduled to at 5:45. As you can see, the storm that's causing trouble has moved into Alabama and officially has exited the WCBI viewing area. As Keith mentioned, we're going to continue to watch some of these other storms just to give you a broad picture of what's happening. We've got this storm cell here in southern Prentiss County, south and east of Boonville. That's been giving us some interesting signatures as of late. You see just a little bit of maybe broad rotation in that. Certainly nothing near what we just saw in Tishomingo, and nothing right now that is enough to trigger a tornado warning, but we are going to keep an eye on that, and it looks like the National Weather Service is also going to be keeping an eye on that. Down in Lee County, just generally some heavy rain. Beach Springs, Saltillo, north 45, north of Tupelo, but that also not causing any concern right now. It doesn't look like there's any rotation in that, but any of these storms today have the potential to cause a little bit of hail, some gusty winds as they move on through. And we're going to wait here for the next little bit and make sure that warning is canceled. As you can see there, no more red box for Tishomingo County. So that warning, Keith, has officially been allowed to expire, but obviously the damage has been done as that storm rolled through. Right,
and I just want to show you the loop from our debris detector here over the last 15 minutes. You can see how we get this little dot to pop just east of the city of Tishomingo, somewhere around Tishomingo and right along Highway 30, and then now up the trace. And that is just that blob of debris, that color you see right there, as it has been tracking with the likely tornado moving across North Mississippi now into Alabama. So that is just a visual of where you can see the tornado probably started and now continuing to some extent perhaps over into parts of Alabama. Here's our shear rate. You can see how it really ramped on up near Tishomingo and then quickly moved across the state line. So that warning is now done, and we will continue to see what happens with these other storm cells back down to the southwest. So as of right now, we have 5:46 on the clock. No tornado warnings in play for northeast Mississippi. the storms are intensifying over into Alabama and parts of Tennessee. But we will continue to watch this particular storm cell to the southeast of Boonville. We're going to get you back to CBS News here in just a split second here. A little bit of wind shear being detected there. No indications as yet as if we're going to get a warning on it, but we'll just give you a heads up here. Right along Highway 371, Highway 4, right up here north of Marietta, southeast of Boonville and Prentiss County. We are watching lightning flare back up. We are watching this signature here where there looks to be a little bit of rotation that's trying to get a little bit better organized. And I would love to just stay with this just a few extra minutes here just to see what goes on here as far as what we are going to do here. So we'll just stay with this for a couple of more minutes until about 5:50. If we don't get a warning by then, we're going to throw it back to CBS News for a couple of minutes. But right now we're watching that particular part of the storm near Marietta that could cause some additional issues. As we just saw, we had a very fast spin up of a tornado near Tishomingo, quickly moved now into Alabama, and we're still getting that TDS signature, tornado debris signature, Trevor, showing on up.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea of the seriousness of this situation, as this storm has moved into Alabama, the National Weather Service has actually issued a tornado emergency on this storm, which is very, very rare. I can't even remember the last time one of these was issued. Technically, the definition of a tornado emergency, it's one step above a tornado warning, basically says that a large and potentially life-threatening tornado is moving into a populated area. So obviously lots of small communities over here in West Alabama. We had that tornado move through Tishomingo, and as Keith mentioned, this gray circle you see spinning here, that's the radar indicating that it is indicating some debris that moved through as well. Fortunately, that storm out of our official area, but as Keith mentioned here for the next few minutes, we're going to continue to monitor these couple of storms through Prentiss County and Lee County before we send you back over to CBS Evening News. Hopefully we can get a little bit of that in, and then of course we'll have the latest for you coming up on WCBI News at 6. But Keith, obviously,
yeah, we'll just monitor this for another minute or so here before we can get you back over. Right now there are no immediate signs that we are going to get a new tornado warning for any of those other storm cells in Prentiss or northern Lee County here in northeastern Mississippi. Again, a view with our Alpha Insurance camera here in downtown Tupelo. We are looking to the north, and we can see a little bit of a lowering right here, if you will, with that complex near Saltillo here north of Tupelo. So there are some lowerings going on across the region. We can still see the daylight behind it there, so it doesn't look to be that foreboding at this point. So we will just watch it and see how it all plays out. That would be with this storm that is just to the north of Tupelo here. That is up there by Saltillo. So that's the lay of the land here. It's 5:49. I think what we'll do is go back to CBS Evening News for the next couple of minutes. We'll keep you updated, though, if we do have some more information to report. If nothing else, we'll see you coming up in about 10 minutes on WCBI News at 6.
This has been a WCBI First Alert Severe Weather Update. Stay connected with the First Alert team online at WCBI.com, on social media, and on your mobile device with the WCBI News app.